Alright, let's draft some Kaladesh, the artifact and energy themed set. Um, Pretty fun set. I've drafted it a couple times, mainly Aether Revolt though, but Kaladesh, still fun. Right off the bat, just looking at Fumigate, board wipes are always good in limited settings. Being able to come back from behind, even if you simply get like a 2-for-1 early on, like they go a big 4-drop, 5-drop, and then on your turn you fumigate. You just feel so good, and the opponent just feels so bad. I don't think I would take anything else over this, but just to highlight some things. I mean, there's not much. Like, these two uncommons are fine. Like, if you can get the +1/+1 counter theme going, but not first pickable over Fumigate. I think there's few things you would want to first pick over Fumigate, so board wipe it is. Some good cards here. Fears for Persoul seems good, but I don't think it usually turns out as good as you want it to be, because you end up like killing a small thing and dealing 2 to the opponent's face, which isn't terrible, but for 4 mana you kind of want to do something more. Welding Sparks is good, 3 mana, 3 damage at instant speed at least. It could do more too. Renegade Freighter, usually pretty strong vehicle, although vehicles can be a little awkward sometimes to use. Propeller Pioneer. Fabricate usually turns out to be pretty good. 4 mana 3/2 flyer, or 4 mana 2/1 and make a 1/1. I think most of the time in this setting it's correct to make the servo token. Select for Inspection is pretty good for 1 mana. Usually do it on their attacker. And the Scry one feels pretty good. I think Welding Sparks is correct, just because it can do, it's 3 most of the time, but it can definitely do more, and when it does more and kills something bigger, it's very efficient. I mean, yeah, it's this, maybe this, just because we're in white, but Welding Sparks is just really good. Yeah. Alright. Show the Fair, playable. Seed Sculptors 2, I mean, they similar. Eddie Trailhawk, pretty good in an aggro deck, but just having a 1/2 flyer is not bad. It usually turns out that this just ends up being okay, but it's pretty annoying when like you have a big creature that you give flying twice to. This is if we're kind of committing to the white plan. 4 mana 3/3, playable. I mean, if we're looking at white-red, I mean, right now we're a little controlling with 2 removal pieces, but without committing to anything, I would probably want the Seed Sculptor, maybe Foundry Screecher, because if it's a 3/1 flyer for 3, seems okay. Like, I always want to make durable handicraft work, but it always just seems slow. I think, without committing to a color, I want Kujar's Seed Sculptor. Looking at we have red and white, I think I want Eddie Trailhawk over Herald of the Fair, because this, like, if this was a vanilla one too, it's not that good, but the fact that you can top deck it and kind of help break board stalls seems useful. Alright, looting, or actually rummaging when you have an artifact ETB. This is mediocre removal. I mean, 2 mana is fine, you'll play it most of the time, but usually damage while attacking or blocking isn't as good as you want it to be. Aviary Mechanic, it's usually good for like cards like this where you re-get your energy or replay your puzzle knots. I mean, right now we don't have many ETB things, but 2 mana 2/2s are always good, especially with upside. It's also nice that it's a May ability. You don't have to return a permanent to your hand. And like a fun thing you can do on turn 2 if you don't draw your, or turn 3 if you don't draw your 3rd land, you can play it, bounce your land, replay the land for 1 mana, which, as I say it, doesn't seem useful, but maybe you can find a use for that. Threaten effects usually are low rated. I think Puzzle Knot is the correct pick, just because card draw is always good, but I like Aviary Mechanic, and I think I could make something useful happen with it. So, Tune with Aether is good too, without committing to a color. I mean, it's just like, sometimes you just play 1 less land just because this acts as a land for a mostly green deck. You do want a certain amount of artifacts in your deck just because there's a lot of random artifact synergy, so there's that's why the puzzle knots are usually good, and there's argument for this because Death Touch is always useful, and like the threat of it, threat of activation. I mean, maybe I do take a Tune with Aether. Energy is helpful. Yeah. It's like a bunch of medium cards. I don't know which medium card to take. I mean, sometimes this, you can make an argument for this too, because Fabricate is like having an artifact in your deck. It is a somewhat of a fatty. I don't know. I think just because I don't know what to take, I guess the default would be stay in your color. With a Puzzle Knot. Ugh. What do I do? Okay, because this puts into your hand. Yeah, and I guess it helps for splashing, but that's only if I'm mostly green, so maybe not that. Yeah, just because white is where we're heading, I think we take Aviary Mechanic. I'll go back to what I said previously. Alright. The red-white artifact deck is a thing if I can get more artifacts going. I guess playable artifacts, I should say. Reckless Fireweaver doesn't seem too bad, although I have 0 artifacts right now. Keep my eyes out for it, but I mean the damage adds up. 1/3 doesn't die that easily. I might want to go for this, grab a few puzzle knots along the way, be an aggressive deck with Fumigate as the backup plan, and then like bounce artifacts with Aviary Mechanic. Let's try for that. This is an artifact. Malphus Squad. The Menace actually helps it a lot 4 mana 3/1 Menace isn't terrible. 4/2 Menace isn't bad either. The artifact helps. I don't think I want these quite yet. I'm not desperate for artifacts. Seed Sculptor, or I think given what I see here, Molfist Squad is probably the correct pick. I know this is one of the better black commons. Where do I get my first? I think I'll end up seeing a bunch of live fasts, so I'll take Molfist Squad. Evasion's always good. These are so-so. Yeah. Alright. This is good with vehicles, but 3 mana 3/2 is fine. Probably better, a little bit better than Spontaneous Artist. Party Scry. Yeah, I think I take the Infiltrator. Keep an eye out for vehicles. It's that or Impeccable Timing, but again, these usually don't work out that well. So Spireside Infiltrator. There's another Reckless Fireweaver. I think if I grab this one, I really need to keep an eye out for artifacts, and yeah, there's another live fast. Yeah, Reckless Fireweaver. I don't know if I want the equipment. Acrobatic Maneuver can do some fun things. Like blink effects are always fun. It only hits creatures, so right now it wouldn't do much for me. I mean, the Salivating Gremlins, if I kind of already am going with the artifact synergy strategy, so this might be the correct pick. You know, there's another Spireside Infiltrator. I don't think I want this, so I think I take this. Herald of the Fair would be good with blink effects. I think I want this over the combat trick or the enchantment. Enchantments always opens yourself up for 2-for-1, so I'll just avoid that for now. Herald of the Fair is my pick. It's tempting to grab another one, but I already have 5 3-drops. There's merit to Hijack just because you sideboard it in against slower decks and maybe steal some wins with it. Yeah, because or do I just grab the other Herald of the Fair? I think I'll see more Hijacks, and since this is playable, this is more of a sideboard card, so take playable. Just grab whatever's left. Now, got this anyway. Might come in handy. Ooh, got some good ones here. So the highlights, Foundry Inspector is usually pretty good. For other artifacts you'll likely play. Riparian Tiger's a solid green card, which we're not in. Puzzle Knots, playable. This card is tempting, because if you fabricate 2, that's 3 bodies on the board. That's 2 triggers of Salivating Gremlin, 2 triggers of Reckless Fireweaver. And that might be the pick, especially over Cultivator's Caravan. This is better in a slower deck that wants to ramp and then like put your smaller creatures in it and block with it. Either of these cards would be good, but I think this is the correct pick. And Inspired Charge might wheel, but I don't think I want that, but it's probably going to wheel. So Visionary Augmenter. There's another Weaver. That would make my 3rd one, but I think I want Sky Skiff, because Crew 1 is always useful. Like, play, like this can crew it, or like a servo can crew it, and that's always useful. And I do need more artifacts at this point, and as I've said before, sometimes just a flyer dings in while the board is stalled, and you just get there. So I think I take the Sky Skiff. There's another Hawk. This card, pretty good, but I don't have that many artifacts, and I'm pretty far from splashing black. I think I just take the Hawk. This would just be a 4 mana 2/4 vanilla in my deck. This would be a 5 mana 4/4. I think I'd rather play a Mastodon. I mean, obviously, if you have 2 or 3 of these in your deck, it'd be pretty good, but then you have 3 5-drops in a deck that probably wants to be aggressive to a certain degree. So I think I take the Hawk. Flying evasion is always good. Brazen Scourge is good. 3 mana 3/3. Thriving Grubs, probably one of the weaker of the thriving cycle, just because 2 mana 2/1. Propeller Pioneer, this is a tough one, because I do like Brazen Scourge. Haste is relevant, but Fabricate, because I do want artifacts again, and I guess 3-drop's already pretty crowded. So I think I take Propeller Pioneer just because of Fabricate, and it is a flyer. Yeah, because Fabricate makes Welding Sparks better, Reckless Fire Weaver more relevant, Salivating Gremlins gets more triggers. Yeah, I think I take that. Because the thing about like the artifact deck is like you can just have a bunch of Fabricate things, and sometimes that's good enough. Pyrohelix is okay removal. Oh, this gives a ton of triggers to Fireweaver. Aviary Mechanic would let me replay everything with Fabricate, which seems slow. I think I take Cogworker's Puzzle Knot just to enable more artifact things, because it puts 2 artifacts out and I can sack it again to do a 3rd. That or the Pyrohelix. Good against servos. 2 mana 2 damage is okay, but I think I go for the synergies here. There's another Weaver. I think I just grab the 3rd Weaver, and I think I want a lot of these for my 2-drop slot. Beaumont Courier. It is an artifact, but I don't know if its limited usage is pretty minimal. Because I can't empty my hand that fast, right? I take a 3rd Hawk, or I take Torch Gauntlet. I mean, it does make my smaller things a little scarier, and it is an artifact. I don't know if I want a 3rd Herald or a 3rd Eddy Trailhawk. Because if I have too many of these, and then I just have a bunch of 1/2 flyers. And then I already have 2 of these. So we'll take Torch Gauntlet. We probably won't end up playing it. Take Beaumont Courier? I don't know. Because unless I get it on turn 1, I just like keep it around until I'm hellbent, and then I sack it to draw 2 cards. It just doesn't seem ideal. So Torch Gauntlet. Let's see. Toolcraft Exemplar. I am an artifact deck, so it probably fits. We just need a few more artifacts, and this would be more reliably a 3/2 first strike. There's the hijack and there's the inspired charge. Since I have a few fabricate cards, I think inspired charge has merit over hijack. There's the third herald I didn't want, but yeah. I mean, normally it'd be like take away something from potential opponents, but if I have to play an artifact, I guess I play this. Yeah, I guess I take another P-Fel. Take the energy card. Alright, last pack. Let's try to bring it home. So again, Foundry Inspector is usually good. It might be the pick here because Oval Chase Dragster, I mean, it just dies. Right? They just block it with a servo. Fragmentize. It's great in this set because most artifacts fit this criteria, so it's a 1-mana removal spell. For Foundry Inspector though, I have, like, right now 3 artifacts I want to play, so maybe I do just take the Fragmentize, because you could safely main deck Fragmentize too. Or take the Inspector. I mean, it is an artifact. It is a 3/2. Yeah, I think I take it over Fragmentize. This is good for topping off the curve. I can also grab a 4th Reckless Fireweaver. But I think this is good flying. 6-mana 4/4 flying is usually pretty good. And I can blink a fabricate thing. Yeah. I mean, I need a certain amount of big things in case the games go long. And if I slam this on turn 6, it warrants an answer from my opponent. Nothing of note. Inventor's Goggles. How many Artificers do I have? 1, 2. Oh, so all the Fireweavers are Artificers. Oh, every Fabricate card is an Artificer too. I think I take Inventor's Goggles. Probably play it over the Torch. And then it'll be nice because it moves around. Yeah. There's another Cogworker's Puzzle Knot. That's a good card. For my deck, anyway. I don't think I want built to last that badly. Oh, Daiwan Young is pretty good removal, but we're definitely not in black now. Acrobatic Maneuver. I think I take it now since I have more fabricate things. Yeah, or even like doing it to Wisp-Weaver, Angel, save it, blink something else. That's over ideal, but it can come up. And drawing a card's always nice. Worst case scenario, it's a cantrip. Servo Exhibition, that might be the pick. Otherwise, it's another Salivating Gremlins. Yeah, Servo Exhibition. Puzzle Knots. If I had to pick between these two, I think I'd take Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot still. Even though I can't sack it, 2 mana to draw a card is okay. Guess I don't have ways to sack it. I mean, because this is just 5 mana to deal 2 damage. That is not appealing. I mean, I probably won't play either of these anyway, but I take the Ibex. Not really an energy deck. Don't have that many uses, but I do have, what, 1, 2... Yeah, I guess I'm light on 4 drops. So Thriving Ibex. Second artifact. Oh, but to each creature, I don't want this in my deck. I want to kill my own things. Another Reckless Fireweaver seems like a great idea. Do I grab this against other opposing artifact decks? Maybe it's that or Giant Spectacle for the evasion. But so this would probably be a sideboard card. And this is at least a body. This would cost 4. I don't think I would put this. If I wanted to kill an opposing artifact, I'd probably play this over this. Mainly because this is a body, and I can do this on turn 3. Or this is, I have to do it on turn 4 or later. If I have to play it. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Vehicles are animated. I mean, it's that or this, so I guess I take this. Hijack, sideboard. Just grab whatever. Alright. Let's do the deck building thing. So in terms of non-creature spells, 1, 2, 3, I mean, these are technically like creature things, but Servo Exhibition, Sky Skiff I want, 5, these are essentially creature spells, but let's see. I mean, I probably can't build with my usual formula, so I want every Fireweaver. Welding Sparks. Fumigate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What else do I want? I want Wisweaver Angel. I want this. I want everything with Fabricate. Play that. This is an artifact. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 other artifacts. I guess as a big creature I just play this. Play Aviary Mechanic. Because I just bounce a permanent, so I can't bounce an artifact. Play the Hawks. 2 drops are quite overloaded. Salivating Gremlins, Sparsite Infiltrators. I'm at 21 cards. Maybe I do like 1 Hawk, 1 Herald of the Fair. Yeah, just to have a smoother curve. Still a 3/2. Like if I give +1/+1 to it, to the mechanic or this, it's a 2/4 on turn 3. It's fine. that would be my deck. I do have some potential for late game, but otherwise the game plan is like have 2 or 3 of these on the field, do some puzzle knot shenanigans. I wish I probably should have grabbed more artifacts, but I do have fabricate things. 1, 2. 2 fabricate things. Probably could have drafted a little better. Green and blue seemed a little more open, but hard to pass up on the potential of 4 Reckless Fireweavers. I could have had 5, but I picked up... what did I pick up? Picked up like a 8-berry mechanic or something. But seems decent. Not sure how it would do, but what do you guys think?